Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. You start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, welcome to the Sunday Night Extravaganza. This is Painting with Menoth John. We are going to take our second attempt at bringing the show online. And I just realized that I actually had my fabulous face up there the whole time that I was doing that. So everybody probably got to watch me dance and hop and things and shooting myself in the head and all kinds of stuff for being an idiot. This is the second take of the Sunday Night Extravaganza. We pride ourselves on professionalism here. For those of you who were not here during the first part and did not hear my fabulous introduction, we have a co-hostess with the hostess. We have Miss Zosha Starscream. Say hello to the brushheads. And this time they'll be able to actually hear you.
Hello.
Oh, there you go. I could, next time I decide I'm going to say I have a woman on the show, I'll just basically just do exactly what I did before, and no one will ever know the difference. It'll be totally awesome. So I do this to myself every time I do Brunch Machine with Menoth John. I put the damn input on the wrong thing, and then nobody gets to hear my co-host. So it's entirely possible. I don't even, who even knows how they heard me? I think it was through the painting camera. But anyway, hi, Zosha. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me.
So before we got some notification from Danny Goodner and others that there was no audio, why don't you tell us one more time, a little bit more about your experiences and what brought you here today?
So I started playing War Machine about a year ago. I actually started last May. One of my local gaming stores was running a journeyman league, and my friend Cassandra had actually introduced me to the game. So
Super sweet.
when the journeyman league started up, I was told that was a really good way to get into the game, and lo and behold, it was. So I finished up the journeyman league, and then I started going to tournaments every weekend with some local players, and here we are a year later and 2 cons, and it's wonderful.
That is fantastic. I'm making a little sign here for our friends here. This will be reminiscent. Remember, Painting with Menoth John, it's all about the production values. Stole that line from Tin Man XL. It's all about the production values, folks. So actually, another woman brought you into the game.
Yes, she did. She's a longtime player. She used to work for Games Workshop when there was one locally here. She plays Warhammer. She plays War Machine. She actually just picked up Hordes. She's unfortunately playing Legion, and I have to deal with that.
Boo.
I know, right? But she's been a long-time tabletop gamer, and I was actually in a D&D campaign with her, and she was like, if you like D&D and you like miniatures and stuff and things, you should try War Machine.
Nice.
So I did. I did a demo game with her and her husband, and I really enjoyed it from right out the gate. So
fantastic.
A week later, I bought my battle box and just off I went.
Well, from watching your appearance on Warmer Stream, I knew that when the time came this week that my normal co-host, Mr. John Spencer, who is off at the ATC doing his thing, that I needed someone else. I knew that your kind of attitude and, shall we say moxie? I think we'll say moxie, was exactly what the show needed. So I know that you're one of us. Are you having a beverage with us tonight?
I am.
Fantastic.
I'm a lightweight, and I am drinking hard cider.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Hard cider's lovely. And, wait for it. Don't get ahead of ourselves. I'm, of course, drinking some Kraken out of the new fancy schmancy Painting with Menoth John shot glasses, available for $8 each. So,
oh, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to be bringing them to conventions. And Zosha, for appearing on the show, I will be sending you one.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Maybe
And
taking it to Captain Con with me.
super cool. Yeah, flash it in front of like Stubbs' face and say, "Hey Stubbs, look at this, huh? Huh? See if you're nice to me, what you get." So, on behalf of all the brush heads everywhere, this one's for you, Zosha. Hey, Ron.
Awesome. Cheers.
There you go. See, now I can settle into the show. Things are progressing a little bit more normally now. I just want to take a couple of minutes to got a couple of announcements here before I turn it over to the painting cam and we get on with the more normal sections of the show. First, I want to announce and give some gratefulness to Jay Larson at Discount Games Incorporated. I know for a number of you long-term brush heads, you've been listening to the show and you've been listening to me give him a hard time about not sponsoring the show. Well, apparently the browbeating and peer pressure finally took hold, and he is now an official sponsor of Painting with Menoth John. So, yay! Discount Games Incorporated. I will be producing some commercials. I don't have. I have some commercials that I did for Dragon Forge Design bases that I actually may play. I'm going to see if I can find one while we're talking here. But I'm planning on doing some commercials for them, and here's kind of my feelings towards online game stores. And I think first off, it's always best to support your friendly local game store. I mean, honestly, they're providing us a place to play. So if you can order stuff from your local game store, you probably should. But if there is that odd model that you can't get somewhere else, I highly recommend Discount Games Incorporated. Jay and the boys there, Scott Ray, they do a great job, give you a nice little discount, and get it off to you with great customer service and shipping. So next time that I do the show, you probably won't have to listen to me doing an ad. It'll probably be something a little bit more creative. But for right now, that is Discount Games Incorporated. Try them on the internet. They are at discountgamesinc.com. In the words of Homestar Runner, they're .com. So anyhow, I'm going to see if I can search here for Menoth John, because I think that's what I had it listed under. And let's see here. Let's see if I can get this one to work. And we're going to play it on. You won't be able to hear it, Zosha, but the brush heads may be able to. So this was a promo that I did for the featuring Nemo. So you'll have to listen to that one on the feed later on, Zosha. So here we go.
Nice.
This is for Dragon Forge Design Bases featuring Nemo. See if it goes here. Well, hello there. I'm a crotchety old arcane mechanic who invents big, powerful robots. There's nothing like that crotchety old arcane mechanic who invents big, powerful robots in a popular fantasy-based miniatures war game. At no time should you think that I have anything to do with any technology that rhymes with Warm Chamber, or robots named the Plunderhead, or even troops called Form Blades. But one thing we do have in common is our love for Dragon Forge designs. My little darlings look so cute and menacing when paired up with the swell, genuine resin bases, only available from www.dragonforge.com. Whether I'm mounting a model for God Emperor Hiker, or your favorite one-armed chicka, you know her as that one that rhymes with Bailey, they all look better on Dragon Forge design bases. So remember, when your minis need to look their max, get on their bases and get off my lawn and start shocking their dudes with Dragon Forge designs. All right, so there you have it. There was the 1 minute and 43-second advertisement I did for Dragon Forge Design. So creativity like that coming to a theater near you for Discount Games Incorporated. Secondly, I hope everybody there liked it. If you I saw already that Orsa Soktavir mentioned in the chat room that he remembered that one from back in Lost Hemisphere Radio days, and that's good. You were like about 12 back then, weren't you, Neek? I'm pretty sure you were. And so we're going to do more of that kind of stuff. But also the shot classes that I mentioned, those will be available from me at conventions. So and in local events. So if you're not in the Midwest, look for me at War Machine Weekend. Is probably the next one. And for those of you who left yours at my house, I will be at Gen Con, and I will be able to give them to you there, and you can give me that money that you owe me. So, of course, I can't sell them at Gen Con because that would cause problems, and I'd probably get kicked out. So I'm clearly not selling them there. I'm going to be simply giving you the glass that you forgot at my house, and then you can give me the money that you owe me for that thing. So, anyway, there you go. I'm going to be painting a bomber here tonight, and that'll be on the camera here. But that's kind of where we're at. But I wanted to Zosha, I wanted to get into the more main topic that we have here tonight, and that is women in gaming. I think that has something that I don't know that a lot of the different podcasts have talked a little bit about, but sorry, I had to take a drink of rum. That was really necessary. I was getting a little thirsty. So you had mentioned that you had gotten into the game through another woman, and it was her and her husband, you said?
Mm-hmm.
And were they press gangers, or or were they just local folks that sort of just enjoyed the game and wanted to bring you on?
Yeah, neither of them are press gangers. Neither of them actually play competitively.
Okay.
It's just that Cassandra had invited me up one day, and she just asked me if I wanted to get a game, if I wanted to check it out, and if I had any interest in it. She was just kind of just extending me the demo, like as a friend, not as a press ganger.
That's super cool. And have you noticed, or do you see that men treat you any differently because you're a woman at the table, or have you experienced any kind of prejudice or anything like that?
Honestly, I don't. I mean, you're going to have your one-offs. You're always going to have some people who are just going to kind of be assholes, and some people who are going to be kind of I don't know a better word for it than other than like belittling,
okay,
overly jeering. But those are far and few between. On average, I've gone to probably at least one tournament a week since the end of the Journeyman League last year.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, there are some weekends that we went to back-to-back tournaments.
Wow.
Like Saturday, Sunday. So I'd probably say that it has, over the year, probably averaged to about one a week. I probably play an average of 3 games a week. I have 2 tables in my apartment. So I get a lot of games, and I get to see a lot of people. So when I say my one-offs, I can count them on one hand, how many people have been really shitty.
That's cool.
How many people have, rage quit a game or started off the game with, oh, hey, hun, that's fine, sweetie, and then ended by packing up their shit and leaving bottom of 2. It's interesting. It happens, but thankfully it is a very, very small percentage that it still makes the gaming experience really enjoyable. And you know what? Honestly, those people who have done stuff like that, I've talked to other players about it, and I don't think it's just because of my gender. I think that's just the kind of player they are.
It turns out they are asshats to both sexes equally. Well,
exactly.
At least they're equal about it.
Exactly. That they don't care what's between your legs. They're just dicks. So that's just kind of how they roll. and I can accept that. I understand that we all kind of react to things differently. But I'm very thankful that I walk into my local gaming store or any store that's between where I live, which is kind of northern Massachusetts down to like northern Rhode Island, and in the gaming stores, like since last year, like I've made my appearances in there, and I walk in and I'm just one of the guys. No one really, you see these comics that circulate around the internet that you see them as just like, oh God, a girl in a gaming store, and the reactions that guys normally have, and I don't get that, and I'm really thankful for that.
Well, that's really cool. Now you're living in Massachusetts, and and because I'm from the Midwest, and I like to draw stereotypes because that's kind of what we do out here. And you've traveled to the Midwest to play. Have you noticed any difference in perhaps how you were perceived, or any type of biases when you came to Adepticon? Not that Chicago's exactly BF Illinois by any stretch of the imagination.
Honestly, no. I mean, because I went to TempleCon too, which is right here in Rhode Island,
Mm-hmm.
and and I've had people who kind of had the same reactions as people in Iron Arena at TempleCon, Iron Arena in Adepticon. I think as a general rule of thumb, you have this bell curve of players. You have your middle, 95% who will just kind of like play the game, and it's whatever. You do your takesies, backsies, you do your Paganis, and no one really cares because it's a casual game.
Yep.
And then you have these outliers, these statistical outliers, who just ruin your life, and they're just miserable about everything. And I only encountered that twice
Okay.
at Adepticon. One was a guy who thought who he I had a speed debuff,
Okay.
and I was like, all right. I'm like, well, I'll just run. And he's like, you can't run. You have a speed debuff. I was like, what? And he was just like, yeah. He's like, you can't run if you have a speed debuff. And I'm trying to explain the rules to him, and he's just like, no, no, no. And he's grabbing books and he's flipping through them and he's asking other people. And then he goes over to one of the judges, and this was like in the middle of like one of the final Masters games.
Ruh-roh.
Goes over to one of the judges and asks him, and the judge kind of looked at him like, dude, I'm busy. And the guy flipped his lid.
Really?
He was so upset that no one wanted to answer him. I'm like, actually, 10 people just answered you. They just didn't give you the answer you wanted to hear. That man is very much like doing things that are more important than a fucking Iron Arena game. He could not wrap his mind around that. And then the only other guy I met who kind of was super and kind of stormed off. He played Peace Scar and just a bunch of infantry, like just Mechanithrals, and just spammed the entire board. He had like 50 something models out.
Yep.
And I killed Scar top of 2. And he was pissed that he took out all of his stuff. And as we walked,
Yep, go ahead.
As we walked up to report our game, all he did was mope the entire time that he took 50 something models off his tray, and then died in 10 minutes. And I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Maybe it's not how long it takes you to get your models off; it's whether or not you suck.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe you shouldn't run Scar straight up the board when Striker threats 17 inches. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm not the best player in the world, but I think that's a bad idea. I don't know.
Oh my God! So you're playing Striker too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Turns out that +5 armor doesn't mean diddly poo to Striker too.
No, he doesn't care.
So turns out we both have some kind of funny stories about Adepticon. Adepticon. I'll tell the story because Brian Culp knows that I'm I love him to death, and I would never throw him underneath the bus. So I figured what I'd do is I throw him underneath the bus so everyone knew what his name was. But I played the shortest game of War Machine of my entire life. I killed him on the top of turn 2. He brought Xerxes forward, not Xerxes, but Hexeris forward on no Fury against Siege.
Wow.
And a defender shot later, and it was all over. So he went no Fury, and then I just took care of that. It was late. I wanted to go home. So
that's fair. I mean, I think it's also different when you're playing against someone you really know, or someone who says that they're an experienced player or whatever it is. I mean, I try not to do like top of 2 or bottom of 2 assassinations if it's a newer player.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to be a new player. I mean, I'm still kind of in that range right now when I go up against factions or lists that I'm not familiar with. So I try, because I get no enjoyment out of just rolling a person.
Yeah, but if you've got 2 tables in your house and you're playing 3 games a week, you're going to be, maybe not Pagani right away because he plays like 64 games a day and owns the game store and all that kind of stuff. But you're going to go up the power curve right quick
against 2 factions.
Well,
and that's it. And that's what it is. It's I don't have the experience or really the opportunity most of the time to play against anything other than Signar or Scorn.
Okay, well, I mean, but at least you're playing in a lot of tournaments and stuff like that, and that should help increase the diversity quite a bit too.
Sometimes, except that we go to tournaments and 50% of the tournament is Signar. Usually, like in this area, it seems to have, as of late, gotten a lot better. But I feel like there was like a point in time where we'd go and just, there'd be 14 people at a tournament and 8 of them played Signar.
Man, step it up, New England. Come on. Let's do it. So let's see. So if you had to, I should have like prepared better for this thing. I mean, I only had we only knew we were doing this for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Why should I prepare or anything?
that seems
That
overrated.
that's because it's free entertainment for the internet. You get what you pay
There you
for,
go.
right, folks? And if you were kind of looking at your experiences, how would you recommend bringing someone in? Tell me if you think it's any different about bringing a woman into the game, or if it's any different for a woman or a guy. Do you think there's any differences in how you would present the game to that person with the eye towards wanting to help them learn to love it?
I don't think there's any difference in the gender. I think it depends on the person themselves. Like if I'm introducing it to a person who plays video games and has played, a lot of like has played maybe not tabletop games but like Magic or role play or something like that, I'd probably try to sell more the gaming part of it.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm trying to sell it to somebody who hasn't played miniature games before, I'd probably try to sell the hobby part of it more.
Mm-hmm.
Try to focus on like the hobby, the crafting, painting. Um, and honestly, like I invite people just to come to open gaming days and just kind of watch and treat it more of like a social event. Like you can just go out, you can meet people, you can chat about things, whatever it might be. But no, I wouldn't introduce it any differently based on gender, but definitely just differently based on the person I'm try to convince to play.
That's really actually I think that's probably going to be one of the things that we're going to take away from this topic that I brought up, because I wanted to really flesh out and get the perspective of a woman who has that combination of being relatively new to the game and is in a very different meta than the one that I'm in. In the Milwaukee area, we don't have a ton of female players, and by a ton I mean we have one in Milwaukee, and then we have Katie Shea, of course, who's up in Madison as a part of the Crippled System podcast. But that's really the extent you see of it. Other than that, it's pretty butch around the table. And then you got Nathan Hoffman, which is no treat at all. So you got I was kind of interested to kind of get your perspective, but what I'm hearing here for the most part is that there isn't in your opinion, a marked difference.
I don't think there is. I mean, I think maybe common thought is that it's geared more toward men.
Okay.
Just because in general, normally you have guys and they like things like stompy robots
Mm-hmm.
and magic and stuff like that more. But the fact is that there are girls out there who would like it and who would give it a shot. And as long as there seems to be, for some reason, some of just this like unspoken but predetermined just exclusivity based on gender. And I don't know why. I'm socially awkward and I didn't pick up on that when I first started. So I just never gave a fuck. So that could also be a thing.
That makes sense. Now,
I can definitely see some women, walking into a game store and just seeing, 24 guys, just kind of just playing a game. And when you get into the middle of the game, sometimes like, you see people get tilted, you see the rulesy stuff come out and, people kind of like eye rolling at each other or making faces at each other. And I can see how that can be a little bit deterring for someone who's not a part of it already and to try to dive into it.
That's very true. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, and quite frankly, you walk into a game store and there's 24, sets of Aztecs staring you back in the face. That can be somewhat off-putting just from an aesthetic standpoint.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, I never got that. And I mean, again, it just could be that I just never picked up on it. But, it's like I walk into a game store that I've never been in before and I just go, "What's up, nerds?" And I just throw my shit down and I play a game. Like I think it's also your opinion on it. It's like I don't aim to let myself be excluded from it, and I kind of just push my way through it.
Cool. Well, I mean that's that's an attitude towards life too. I mean, you can't let the world dictate what you're going to do. I mean, you got to take charge of your life along with everything else. I mean, you're a parent, I'm a parent. We understand these kinds of things. When it comes to our kids, we gotta fight for what they're gonna get and what they're not gonna get and all that kind of stuff. So
exactly, and I have a 7-year-old. She'll be 8 in November. So I mean, I try to set an example for her that that gender doesn't matter.
Oh.
I really do.
My youngest is 8 years old.
Oh, nice.
We may not
Yeah,
have to, we might have to have a little talk about this. Anyway.
yeah. I mean, yeah, and I mean it's really great, because she's 8 years old. She wants to play War Machine.
Mhm.
She plays Magic. She just got 2 decks for My Little Pony. Like she likes games. She likes
Nice.
this stuff. She's into fantasy, sci-fi. She loves Transformers, and I've already kind of encountered the whole, well, you like Transformers, but you're a girl, and she's already had to deal with that.
Wow, that's really
And
sad.
in kindergarten, yeah, like this was already a thing for her. And her response, and she was kind of, blank stare and just like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And it's because she didn't. It's because whenever I would take her to the store, it was, I'm going to go look at the toys. It wasn't go look at the girls' toys or the boys' toys. It was just, you look at toys. And
Yep.
she had a shit ton of Matchbox cars and a 3 foot tall Optimus Prime. She,
Nice.
but she also had Barbies in a dollhouse. She had her Optimus Prime right next to the dollhouse, and it was very threatening looking. But
Nobody's coming in to fuck with Barbie.
yeah, she's just like, yeah, so she's just like, Optimus is guarding Barbie's house while she sleeps. And I'm like, good foresight. Like,
That's very cool.
and it's really great. And you know what? And I was actually kind of topical. We were driving home the other day, and she said to me, she goes, Mom, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. And I go,
Aw.
oh God, in my head. But then but out loud, I said to her, what does that mean? And she goes, well, it means that you're nice and you're confident. And my heart melted, and I almost crashed my car because I was
Aw.
tearing up. But it was really good, and that's good, and I'm glad that I can get that across to her because, especially as a female, and especially if she wants to get into gaming and stuff, she's going to have to be confident. I mean, with anything in her life, but especially if she's going to try to fight through some of like the gender barriers that seem to put themselves up in game stores, she's going to have to do it.
And it's even to put herself in a position where she's assertive in an environment such as a game store, which may be more male dominated, is great social training for her future.
It is, yeah.
Super cool. Yeah, my youngest, my 8-year-old Charles, otherwise known as Lich Lord Charles, or probably more accurately now, I love the Trolls Charles.
Oh, nice.
He's starting to learn hordes, and he's doing a really nice job. Started
That's
him
awesome.
off. I started him off on Borka, and so that he would never die. And we've just been running little small games so far, but he's picking up on it really fast, and it's a nice way to teach a kid math, to be able to
It
do
is.
math in their head really fast.
That's why I taught her Magic.
Nice.
Because I already had some some extra decks, and they're really simple. Like I never played Magic competitively. Like it was all tabletop stuff, like kitchen table stuff.
Mhm.
So I had some very simple decks, and I built her a very plain blue deck with no combos or anything like that. And it was really good for her, because she'd look at it and she'd see the mana she needed, and it was a lot about being able to strategize and things like that, and it was wonderful, and these things are great to teach kids young because it teaches them how to strategize and math in their head, all
Super
things that
cool.
are good in life.
All right, well, you know what? We've managed to burn a half hour already. Can you believe it?
Holy shit!
Yep.
I still don't have this juggernaut put together.
That's okay. I'm still painting little rocks onto a dire troll, because it turns out that dire trolls have a lot of little frickin' rocks on it. Little pink
For
rocks.
sure.
Little pink rocks. So I'll just kind of, oh, hello. They're coming into them. There we go. All right. So as you said, you'd listen to the show a little bit and all that kind of stuff. So we have a little segment we call Flippity Bloop here, which is where we encourage the brushheads, the greater brushhead nation, if you will, to write in with questions. And we have a few here that we'll go ahead and start working our way through. I appreciate everybody who's hearing this to go ahead and make sure you put your Flippity Bloops up on Twitter at hashtag Flippity Bloop, all one word. Most of them come from tonight. They come from the Painting with Menoth John Facebook page, which you can find at facebook.com. Smear all that crap together. We have one here from I put one on here like, why can't Signar win? What's missing? That was a joke. And then of course Cliff Hughes had to chime in. Why are minions so OP? Do you have any perspective on that, Zosha, as far as why they are so OP?
Minions?
Mm-hmm. There might be
That's
a certain amount of
sarcasm?
sarcasm coming into on this one.
Like, is this sarcasm? Because I I think every faction was created equally. I'm gonna
Except
no,
them.
except them. Yeah, I I'm gonna skip that one. I think it's sarcasm, and I think I'm being trolled.
Well, it's entirely possible that this podcast is more or less one long series of trolls. So,
Oh man.
and Flippity Bloop in general is a troll segment because um, I might be I might have gotten banned from a few things on the forums sometimes. Anyway, let's see here. On a serious note, I would like to hear about what the community can do to get more women into gaming, tabletop in particular, board gamings in general. Do you have any perspectives on that?
I don't know. Do like a bring your wife or girlfriend to a tournament day.
Nice.
No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I don't know. I think it depends on the person. I think if you have a girlfriend and she likes things like, I don't know, Lord of the Rings and Transformers, throw a faction at her, grab her a battle box. You have a birthday coming up, battle boxes are great. I'd buy her one.
Yep.
And just you can propose it as something that you can do as time together. And I think another portion of it is maybe like, as a female, and especially as in a relationship, to not feel like it has to be like a prerequisite, or that if she doesn't play competitively, like shit's gonna hit the fan. But maybe just like introduce her to it, and uh,
Oh my God! I can't have sex with you anymore because you won't play Circle.
exactly, like don't make it like something that's like required or anything. But like if it's kind of like a non-pressure thing, or if it can be something that can be seen as not competitive and something that you can do as fun. I mean, I feel like a lot of people who play things competitively, whether it's War Machine or um, Magic or anything like that, sometimes the competitive edge or the competitive side that comes out of people.
Yeah.
Sometimes women just don't want to see that. And not just women, but people in general. Like depending on your personality type, you just don't want to see that.
Yep.
So, but if it can be seen as something that you can do more casually, I think a lot more people, in general, would want to play.
I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. I think that I'm in a relationship and I've got and Belinda Librarian is she's curious about the game because it's such a big part of my hobby time. But
Mm-hmm.
I never pressure her to get into the game or anything like that. She's interested in it. She's actually watched some stuff on YouTube with me where I've explained the game a little bit to her.
Oh,
But
awesome.
I'm not gonna pressure her into even considering picking up a thing until she says, you know what, I'd like to try that sometime, and then I'll be more than
Yeah.
happy to teach her. But she's a board gamer and she loves European board games, and so that's kind of some of the things that we do if we're gonna play a games that we'll bust out
Mhm.
a board game. We like to play stuff with my kids and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I mean, for me, what is a requirement though is the acceptance and willingness to be supportive of this part of my life, this hobby that I have, and not to drag it down or to say you can't do this or you can't do that, and she doesn't. I mean, she's really super cool about that, and because this game has brought so many new and wonderful people into my life. It's something I would never want to give up for somebody else, and somebody that loves you shouldn't ask you to. So, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to put a bunch of tin soldiers ahead of going out and doing fun things like in life and trying new things with her. But
Hmm.
she's super supportive about it. So I think that you know that
That's awesome.
that's a someone that you want to try that kind of stuff with is going to be supportive is really important. So I kind of rambled on there a little bit, but you know what? It's my show, God damn it, I can do that. So
There you go.
flippity bloop. The next one that I have here is let's see here. Further commentary from Cliff Hughes on that last one. There was somebody that was giving a demo to one of his female friends and berating her for not having fun. So I'm
Jeez.
not sure if I quite understand that. I'm not sure how you berate so. My God, you suck. You're not having enough fun. Let me yell at you so you can have more fun. Huh?
That's how to do it.
Let's see here. Let's see. We have one from Marth Fright, who is we see sometimes on the Steam Powered TV, assuming that women get attention in gaming media. just because they are women and men don't, does that qualify as sexist? That's an interesting topic. I'm not sure what your viewpoints are on that as far as the portrayal of women in gaming and things like that.
Honestly,
Yeah.
yes.
No, I want you to. I want you to lie to me. That's why I brought you on the show.
No, pretty much, honestly, yes, it is. If you, regardless of the outcome, whether it's beneficial for the woman or not, if you make a decision about something concerning her based on her gender only, then yes, it is sexist.
It's kind of the definition of it, isn't it?
Exactly, and that's the thing, is sometimes we lose the words sexism, racism, they become very negative. So unless there is a negative outcome, we tend to
oh, that's interesting.
unless there's a negative outcome, we tend to not label it as such.
Sure.
So I mean, if you take it as a generalization, it still falls under the definition. So yes.
That's a really interesting perspective. I never kind of thought of it that way, but you're right. I mean, even if there is a beneficial outcome to it, it still doesn't make it any less of a either a prejudicial way of treating a person or a it still is unfair in general. It's an ism, if you will. I think I just created a new word, an ism. So let's see here. Let's see. Seth Watkins says, I've been pondering the woman in gaming thing as well. I'm trying to figure out if it is complexity or rules, the high investment for initial buy-in, or just the culture. My wife pointed out that a few times she has been in our figs. The women were mostly painted or being bossed around by guys rather than being allowed to play and make their own mistakes. Just maybe yes. I look forward to this one. Keep up the good work, John. So I agree with the keeping up the good work part. So I guess I've seen a little bit of that myself at my local game store, where I see a guy. Obviously, maybe these two are in a relationship, and he is kind of telling her what to do, and I don't think that's fair to her. So I would say in general, don't do that. Let talk about what strategies are, but let that person make the moves. Otherwise, the game isn't very much fun. What do you think about that one, Zosha?
I agree. I think that's a general courtesy you should give to all players. Again, and I mean, I seem to sound like a broken record, but my general take on everything is, regardless of what's between your legs, this is how I feel about it. And with this, I agree that like if you're watching a player play a game, regardless gender, just let him or her make the mistakes. After the game, sure.
Uh-oh. We lost our co-host there midstream, so I'm going to try and bring her back on. Hopefully this will work here. We'll bring her back on. Oh, here she is. We just had a little technical glitch there. It's nothing that we're not used to here on Painting with Men Off, John. It's kind of our call sign. But, yeah, so you were just once again reiterating the same point that you've made on here already, which I think is a very profound and good one, which is, it doesn't matter if you dangle or not. And...
Yes.
Treat each person as individuals and treat them like how you want to be treated.
Yeah, and I mean, and like with the whole battle report thing, with talking about a player strategy and stuff like that. In general, try not to side machine. It's it's distracting because everybody has different play styles.
Yep.
Everyone has different ideas of what they want to do. If you're talking at them about what you think they should do, you're just ruining their train of thought.
Yeah,
and that will just make that person frustrated.
A lot of times people refer to that as kibitzing, and kibitzing doesn't work out well for anybody. It doesn't work.
And it's just,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, it's very distracting. I mean, even in casual games, like it's one thing if the person's a completely new player. It's like if
Game
number 10 or under, and you can't, they're kind of just staring and they look really lost.
Yep.
But like if a person who is actually trying to play a game and trying to figure things out, let them figure it out on their own. After the game, say, hey, I saw this opening and this is what you could have done. This is a cool interaction that, this unit has. Maybe you didn't know about it. There's also a tactful way to go about it too.
Yep. In my experience, when I'm working with a newer player, rather than say, you should activate this model and this model should do that and that model should do this, I ask them, what do they want to get done this turn? And I remind them what the goal of the game is. What are you trying to do? You have this scenario here. So you're wanting to do something with that, and you also want to kill the caster if that is an opportunity that presents itself. So think about what are you trying to accomplish, and then how do you think you can get that done, and then kind of lead them through questions rather than telling them exactly what to do.
Yeah, I do that with some people sometimes too. It's just the kind of whole, what are you going for here? And
Yep.
they'll say it, and and then you can tell them, just be like, well, listen, if you do this, you're going to be, you know, 2d6 minus 8. On average, you're not going to actually get that done.
Yep.
Or, you try to like explain it to them that in more or less words, you try to like map it out for them and say statistically, this is a bad idea. But you still let them make their own decision. And sometimes that's the way you learn the best is, you make your mistakes yourself.
Yep. The old burned hand kind of method.
Exactly. Now you know what hot is.
Exactly. Welcome to not ever doing that again. Yeah, I'll tell you, I can't tell you how long it took me to realize that bringing a protectorate caster forward at any time is a bad idea. Turns out they all die, even the ones that are a little bit more tanky, like Resnick. Yeah, they still pretty much just die.
It's tough.
We had a couple of them here. Now we're getting to some flippity bloops that are perhaps a little bit more normal, and that is we have one here that says, if War Machine is a mixed drink, which caster is Kraken and which one is Coke? So it has to be a combination that goes well together and is spicy and strong. So I'm going to say, I'll take one from my own home faction of Protectorate. I'm going to say that Fiora 2 is Kraken, and the Judicator is the Coke. I think it's just a natural combination. What about you? Got any? Can you draw that analogy for us?
So is it so it's two casters?
I decided to reform it so that it was
okay,
something that
that's
goes
fine.
well together.
I'm gonna say Striker 2, Haley 2.
Oh, you're a terrible person.
I know. And so is that drink that just it kicks your ass. So that's why Striker 2, Haley 2.
I think that's a fine combination. Let's see here. Let's see if there's anything more here. We're to be honest with you, brush heads, you gotta do a little bit better here, guys. A little bit more flippity bloops. We count on this part of the show. So I think rather than continue on with, let me see. Let me check the chat room here real quick. See if anybody's kicked any flippity bloops into the chat room. Let's see.
Oh, I see one from Bonzi.
Okay, go ahead and bring it up. What do we got?
How is the new broadcasting software looking or working?
I experimented with. We're on the old one right now, by the way. I experimented with it on Brunch Machine, and I got really weird results out of it. Sometimes people were saying that it was really choppy. The software that we're referring to is Open Broadcaster Software, or OBS, and the Macintosh version just came out, and so it's like an alpha at best. Think of it as the War Machine tactics of broadcaster softwares, and so it's very. I got a lot of really weird audio on my end when I was listening to it over my laptop while I was playing the game, and I think it was also having some choppiness of the video and stuff like that. The idea long term is that this will replace my current software and will help with resolution and stuff like that, and a little bit smoother of a stream. But for until they pull their head out of their butts, I think we're gonna stick with what we got. But that was thanks Bonzi for asking. That I think we're gonna be on this one for a little while though yet. So flippity bloop. Any other ones you spot in there?
I see another one from Brett Painter.
Okay.
John, how do we convince you to come to the Nova Open?
Plane tickets.
Three of them, huh?
I can't. I'm going to SmogCon next year in. And that was a flippy bloop I got off of the Twitters also, I guess, is someone was asking me, did I get my ticket for SmogCon? And the answer is yes. I got on there the minute that they opened, actually, because I knew they were going to go fast, because it sold out last year, and there's only 300 tickets, and I wanted to make sure that I got there. So yes, Belinda and I are going to London, and I will be at SmogCon the last few days of that. So it's going to be super fun. So everybody that's hearing my voice there in the Europes, make sure you stop on by, and we'll have some shots of Kraken and all kinds of good stuff. Or I guess whatever I can get my hands on in England, because I can't believe that bringing a Kraken through the airport's going to work out too terribly well. I should tell you a story. I was bringing some rum to San Diego for the Kingdom Con, and I had a very special bottle of rum for Kevin Clark, and I thought I spaced out. I mean, I travel for a living, for God's sakes, and I tried to bring this bottle through a carry-on. It turns out a bottle of rum is far more than 3 ounces.
Yeah, a little bit.
And so they were going to make me throw it out, and I said, "No, can I just go back and check it, please?" And they were like, "Yes, we'll let you do that." So I had to buy a piece of luggage because I had already checked my luggage. So I had to buy a piece of luggage for a bottle of Kraken, for not a bottle of Kraken, but a bottle of Roaring Dan's rum that you could only buy in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Jesus.
So, yeah, it was $34 rum. I mean, I didn't want to throw it out. But anyhow,
well, fair.
yeah, that would be alcohol
Wow.
abuse. And as a Wisconsinite, I'm not comfortable with that. So,
I spot 2 more.
okay.
Actually, 3 more. Oh man, here we go. So we have why are first make Hawk's arms so friggin' hard to put on?
To punish you for playing the pirate boat.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yep. No, you get to answer.
sorry.
You get to answer these too, so you're not off the hook.
I don't know. I play Signar.
What do you mean? You can play Hawk.
Nah.
Nah.
What is both of your favorite tournament formats, and what draws you to them the most?
Okay. I'll take this one first, and then you can take it
Okay.
after to give yourself a chance. My favorite. I mean, I'm a big fan of just a regular 50 point steamroller event. I mean, not even necessarily. I'd prefer it not to be divide and conquer because I don't know, that forces me to actually have a second list or play a second list. So I like 50 point steamroller probably the best. If I had to play a specialty one, kind of like a novelty tournament, I guess what I would play then is, now that I have trolls, who's the boss?
Nice.
Before I got a Hordes faction, I wouldn't even play it because I think War Machine has a distinct disadvantage in playing.
Really?
Yeah, I really do, because
Oh,
there are so many things that just straight up break trolls.
fair.
And
I
go ahead.
I played in a Who's the Boss at Adepticon, and I got Grim 1, and I was miserable. And you know what happens in that game?
What's that?
Grim just moves and dies. So that was that. But I played. What did I play? I played like Rowdy, Forge Guard, and solos and shit. And I got Mordekar, Frogs with Hollow, pretty legit. Yeah, that was pretty good. Harvey died under to like 3 charging frogs. It was wonderful.
I was playing against Keith Christensen at Merry Mayhem in Madison, and he was playing trolls. He brought his trolls out in a rare troll appearance, and he got a caster with a couple defensive shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 25 or armor 26 Mulg is a problem.
That just those words should just never be put together.
Yeah, and he's got Mulg, he's got the Creel Stone, he's got an Earthborn, and he's got Janissa. So he just manufactures all the armor.
Oh my god, that's horrible.
Yeah, so
That's quite upsetting.
and around here there's a guy by the name of Ben Lang who plays, who used to play a lot of War Machine, used to win every Who's the Boss that was ever put on around here. So. And he played Scorn. So obviously there's a lot of stuff that breaks Scorn in half, too.
Wow.
So that's what I got. What are your favorite... it sounded like you were on board there with me with the 50-point steamroller.
Yeah, 50 point is where it's at. Like I mean, for competitive play, yes, 50 points is really good. When I pick up a new caster, I go back to 25.
Okay.
Just to still play competitively, but to have a smaller army to deal with while I try to really learn the inner workings of the new caster. I skip over 35 points because that's a piece of shit, and I go right to 50. I hate 35 points because it just makes me wonder why I'm not paying a 50-point steamroller. I'm missing like I don't know, like all the things that make my army work, and I just end up leaving really sad and tilted. So,
And it
so
doesn't
so
it doesn't take that fewer amount of time either.
it doesn't. It's if anything, it's like it's just both people are on opposite sides of the table, just going, Jesus Christ, where are my solos? So it's miserable. So, but no, 50 points I definitely enjoyed the most for like standard for tournaments. But for kind of fun tournaments, I actually really like hardcores. Um, they're just it's a different mindset, and you pretty much just you're always going for the caster kill, so everyone plays a little bit differently.
Yep.
You focus less on scenario and more on just killing somebody. So I just play striker too and have fun the whole day.
What is your? I'm going to kind of expand this question a little bit sideways here. What is your least favorite format?
35 points.
Okay, we covered that one already.
Yeah.
For me, my least favorite is probably 75 or larger.
That sounds horrible.
I've played enough. I was kind of looking at this new version of Steamroller not Steamroller, but the new Iron Gauntlet that came out. Going, huh?
Yes.
I was thinking maybe that'd be kind of fun to play and stuff like that, and then I actually tried 75 points and went, well, that's not for me.
Let's never do that again. Yeah, that sounds like a lot. Just a lot to deal with.
Oh yeah, and then I was playing like a 75 version of the Meat Mountain, and I've developed some very strong opinions about whether or not the Meat Mountain is actually even good for the game at this point, because
Really?
I've played it a couple 3 times now, and it's strong for the person who's playing it, but the poor son of a buck that's got to play against it, it's a lifetime commitment to get 2 or 3 models off the table.
Yeah.
If you want to make your opponent miserable, play the Meat Mountain against them. If you want to have a good, fun time, do not bring that list out. So, did you spot any other ones in there?
Oh, there are a ton in here, actually. Your thoughts on War Machine tactics?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was able to finagle a beta key out of White Moon Dreams as a part of the media. And I dropped into my radio voice there for a second. And so I got a chance to play it a little bit. I'm playing it on a Macintosh, which I think is kind of an interesting thing to get to do because, so many people so far have been, I think, more playing it on PCs and things like that. But it's a beta, and so you got to kind of have to go into that with that attitude. It is a little slow. It's a little clunky. I think it has potential, and I think it has actually a fair amount of potential. But the problem that we have with it so far is that, at least in my opinion, the controls are somewhat tedious. And what I mean by that is that every time that I make a model move, it seems like it feels that it needs to take the camera and follow the model to its final destination. When I have the camera up at a nice oblique angle so that I can see kind of the battlefield a little bit better, so I find myself constantly having to reel the camera back out so I can see where I want my next person to go. And if let's say I'm playing Protectorate, and I've got 10 Temple Flame Guard, to activate that unit, I've got to do each one individually, and it zooms in, and then I've got to zoom out. I've got to zoom in, and then it zooms out. And then I zoom in, and it's, oh my friggin' God. And then shield, a lot of the abilities don't work as units. They work as if it's a solo. So if you you want to know how to make Defender's Ward as a spell suck, make it only affect a single model instead of a unit, which is exactly what it does. So you end up with one guy with, I gave it to the Temple Flame Guard, and thinking that, oh great, I'm going to have, set defense plus Defender's Ward, which usually turns them into a you're not going to hit me, let alone kill me machine. And you just ripped them all apart because they just died. But so shield wall works very similarly. You apply shield wall on a model by model basis, and so is it bad? No. Is it kind of a work in progress. Yeah, it is. So I think you just need to kind of go at it. They're releasing another version of it again. I think this Wednesday, I've heard, is another update coming. And the update between the first one that they released and the second one was like a different game. It was so much better. So I'm expecting another big jump in performance, another big jump in capabilities and things like that. So that's my thoughts on Tactics. Have you had a chance to screw around with it at all?
I unfortunately haven't.
Okay. So, Flippity Bloop.
All right, so let's see the next one. How do I find motivation to paint new things when I have such a laundry list of things to do?
My recommendation for that is to get a podcast, start a podcast, and call it Painting with You, and that keeps you on a schedule. So, and I think I've talked a little bit about kind of how this show. Did you ever hear the story, Zosha, of how this show got started?
I did not.
Okay, so I've been doing the show now for about a year and a half, and I started off. The first initial Painting with Menoth John was New Year's Eve, 2011 at the time, 2012, by the time it was over with. And it was because I couldn't get a date. And so I decided that I was probably not the only nerd in the world that couldn't get a date that night. And maybe there'd be some people that would want to paint with me. So I started Painting with Menoth John. And
Awesome.
It turns out that there were other people who wanted to paint with me, and I had so much fun doing it that I decided to keep it up, and that's how this show happened. Now we took a little hiatus there for a little while. We had Major Tusk on from Crippled System one time, and he almost broke the show in half, and so I shut it down for a little while, but then I got it going again, and now here we are, and been going strong now for a year, ever since John Spencer kind of joined the show. So,
Awesome.
Yeah. So from loneliness to happiness, I suppose you could say.
Awesome. So Kurgash, I would suggest pretty much the same thing. I didn't start a podcast for it, but when I was prepping for Adepticon and I had a schedule to stay on, we just some local people and we would just Skype and paint together. We would watch some other podcasts. Sometimes we'd watch different games and stuff, and we put that on in the background and we'd Skype and we'd chat and kind of be like we're in the room together, but we weren't. We had one person out at school in North Dartmouth, one person in France, one person somewhere else, and it was a good way to still be able to get together with your friends and paint, but not have to be in the same room with them. And hopefully being with them and sharing the hobby can help motivate you to get through that list of E-Virus and some Griffins.
That's actually a lot of how this got started too. Is I used to do that exact same thing, but then I kind of just I discovered originally the show was on Ustream, and that was kind of the motivation to. I figured it was just like getting together back when I used to Skype paint, and but this way it would be kind of kicking it up a notch, getting it on one of these streams, and then Ustream was so freaking unstable that I discovered Twitch.tv, and then the rest is sports history. Now we'll see. Now that Google owns Twitch, we'll see what changes, if anything. So, hopefully they've been pretty good. They've been pretty good about what they've done with things that they've purchased. So hopefully they won't make things horrible. But
here's an interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
What battle boxes would you not use to teach a new player?
Would I not use? Probably Retribution and Convergence.
That's fair.
Because Convergence is so damn different than everything else.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even necessarily do a good job of teaching the core concepts of its own faction, just because it doesn't have, the corollary is going to and always will be such a huge part of the mechanics of that faction. So I would say those two probably not. From a Horde standpoint, I think that you could make an argument that, well, let's see, the Legion box is pretty normal. The Scorn box is pretty normal. I don't know. I guess the Hordes ones are probably a little bit better. What do you think?
I would not use Legion because the world does not need more Legion players. I would just get I probably use a Signar battle box because I need more swans. Um, and I don't know. I don't think anything else would be really that bad, but just, yeah, no more Legion.
Cool.
That's really all I want to take away from this.
How are we doing as far as do we have any more in there, Zosha?
Yeah,
Or
there's a lot coming through here. What is the theme song for your favorite caster?
oh God, theme song for my favorite caster. Let's see. First, I'd have to define what my favorite caster is. Um, I guess I would say. Boy, I should have read that one ahead of time. So right now, I guess my favorite caster in Hordes is in Trolls, because I'm playing Trolls right now. I'm gonna say is Epic Doom Shaper, and he's kind of a grumpy old racist.
Nice.
So, what would be a song that would go along with grumpy old racism? Perhaps dueling banjos, something with a country vibe.
Yeah, I
So
was just gonna say like something country-ish.
yeah, something with a country vibe. What about you?
My favorite caster is my main man, Striker,
Mm-hmm.
his second incarnation. And I love playing him with Rowdy. So my favorite caster is Striker, and my theme song for him is "You've Got a Friend in Me" by good old Randy Newman.
That's great.
So let's see, what else do we have here? How do I become? Oh, no, we did that one, sort of. Um, oh, that's it. That
Okay.
was the last one that I
No,
saw there.
that's perfectly cool. I appreciate everybody kind of, especially at the last minute here, kind of jumping in here and getting us to a half hour of flippity bloops. Really appreciate everyone's participation in that, because one of the things we founded this show on was being inclusive and getting people to contribute to the show and stuff like that. Um, and I think that's one thing that we do need to guard against in the community is making sure that we're including people and making everyone feel welcome in this game. I know it's one of the things that really helped me when I first joined when I first started playing War Machine, and when I was living in Utah, and I went to my first convention. It was Norbert Brunhuber who took the time to introduce me to a lot of the legends in the community, people like Devil Squid and Stubbs, and I'll never forgive him for introducing me to Stubbs. Um, and taking me aside and really kind of showing me the ropes and that kind of stuff, and I really appreciated that. uh, I worry, Zosha, to be honest with you, that maybe we're starting to lose some of that stuff. um, we're starting to maybe get a little bit too much of the cult of personality, or the cult of celebrity. What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I personally haven't experienced that. I mean, I've also only been to two cons.
Okay.
Um, and my first con, when I was at TempleCon, I kind of avoided the tournament room because being a newer player, I didn't want to have to deal with like the intense nature of like a master's level tournament and being around that.
Yep.
But in between games, after games and stuff, I mean, I feel like you didn't really get a whole lot of the feeling of people being in cliques, the feeling, of celebrities versus not, and things like that. I mean, in all fairness, we're all just a bunch of nerds around a 4x4 table. No one's a
Amen.
celebrity, so knock it off.
Amen.
Second of all, second of all, if you're going to have that kind of attitude, no matter how good you are at this game, and no matter what your shirt says, you're going to be an asshole. So
Yep.
it's it again kind of just goes back to who the person is versus what they're actually doing. But I think like as a community, I don't know. I don't see it as like they're like War Machine celebrities and stuff like that. Because I mean, you, I met Jay Larson at Adepticon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy owns, he discount games. He's doing Chain Attack. He just won Iron Gauntlet. I mean, if you want to talk about celebrity status, you have that there. And he was just kind of, hanging around, talking to people like they're people. Like he's a person
Yeah.
because he is. And and you have people like that who can do great things in in the War Machine community for the game itself, and whose name is well known, but he doesn't let it go to his head, and it's awesome. And I see that in a lot of people, and he's just one specific example, but I see that in a lot of players whose names are known.
It's a little known fact that I taught Jay everything he knows about the game. So when he won the Iron Gauntlet this year, basically, he was riding my coattails. So I just thought I'd point that out there in case there's any confusion amongst the community. No, I agree. Getting a chance, I've had the opportunity to meet some really wonderful people, and we had Will Pagani on here, and the first time I ever had a chance to meet Will Pagani, I was kind of a little bit of an awe of him because of his skills and all the things that he's won. But my God, you want to talk about some amazing people, and who are just there to have a good time. And it's a concern. I think it's something that we need to reflect on as a community, that we don't become the Magic the Gathering community, or we don't. I'm not trying to throw people underneath the bus or communities underneath the bus, but we don't want to be that guy. We want to be the people who are the community that says, hey, come on in, let's have a good time, let's play some games and hang out and all that kind of good stuff. We don't want to be the kind of community that cuts down on the fun in the name of whatever. So there you go. That's all I got. That's all the thoughts I have on that one. Have you seen any movies you'd like to talk about? Because we're at that part of the show that we like to refer to as the media section. Zosha, any good movies you've seen this week?
I have not seen any good movies recently. I saw Transformers 4. And I lied. I saw X-Men Days of Future Past last week.
Okay.
Visually, pretty good. Okay, so Transformers 4 was just a giant steaming pile of Michael Bay's shit.
Oh my God.
But Optimus Prime on a fucking T-Rex, like I can't deal with that, like visually. Like that was just, it didn't make sense. There was no plot that really like led up to it. None of it made sense. But that like 3 seconds that you saw that, it was really awesome.
But at the end of the day, it's still Optimus Prime on a T-Rex. Your argument is invalid.
Exactly. Like at the end of the day, I would make that my desktop background. The plot was pretty much non-existent. You had Marky Mark being Marky Mark, who can't act his way out of a paper bag. You had just another very vacant-looking girl screaming and getting abducted by things and just getting in the way and pushing the plot unnecessarily. And I mean, it was really flimsy. The fight scenes were pretty awesome. But that's what Michael Bay does. He blows stuff up and he makes robots hit each other. So don't go into it looking for something that's going to like enlighten your life. Go into it and just be like, wow, that thing got fucking wrecked. And that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah, Days of Future Past was pretty good. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody.
No, please don't.
But yeah, but it was pretty good. I would definitely give it a watch. But I'd give it a solid like 6 out of 10.
Okay, well, first off, we need to get you broke in on the grading system around here.
Okay.
It is not a normal grading system because, this is Painting with Goddamn Mouth John. So we have what's known as the Shots of Kraken scale, which is how many shots of Kraken do you think it would take for you to enjoy the particular piece of media that you have just consumed, or that the average person with an average tolerance would take. So, for instance, a higher number would be representative of needing more shots of Kraken to get your way through it. So let's start off with Transformers before we get too far down the path here. How many shots of Kraken do you believe it would take you to get through that steaming pile of poop?
You would need enough shots that you would fall asleep for just an hour and a half so you can wake up for the ending fight.
Okay.
Scene.
So for you, how many shots of Kraken would that be?
Oh, God, I don't know, because I either don't drink at all or I drink far too much and then wake up the next day. So, like, I don't have a middle ground. I'd probably put it somewhere around maybe 6 shots of Kraken.
Whoa! Okay, it's a 1 to 5 shot Kraken because
I
go blackout drunk after about 3 or 4. So
okay, all right. Let's do 3 shots of Kraken.
3 shots of Kraken for.
We don't want to sleep through the whole movie. We want to see the ending fight scene.
Makes sense. Now for the next one, Days of Future Past. Was it X-Men? I don't even know how many. 600th.
Yeah, it's something around there.
What are you thinking about for that one?
Probably just one.
I'm sorry, you broke up just a little bit there. How many?
Uh, Probably just one for just at the very end where you're just like, what just happened?
Okay, just one shot of
Yeah,
Kraken. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I am going to talk a little bit about the movie Gravity. Have you seen the movie Gravity?
I have not, but I
Okay.
have heard good things about it.
So Gravity is a it's got a small it's got a very very small cast. It has oh god, I'm gonna lose the names. What's her name? From Speed.
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra
Thank you.
Bullock.
You know I'm old. I mean we've established this. So it has Sandra Bullock and it has the inimitable Mr. Clooney, who I think I look a lot like. But anyway, nobody else thinks I do, but I do. And they are caught in a space. They're up in space, working off of the space shuttle. So that should tell you right now that this movie obviously takes place in the past. And some the Russians, the damn Russians, at it again. They shoot down one of their own spy satellites so that it doesn't fall into the hand of those dirty Americans. And as a result, the debris ends up hitting the spaceship, the shuttle, causing the space shuttle to get screwed up, and they end up having to what happens after that is her attempting to survive for 2 hours. Now that may not sound all that entertaining, but I'm here to tell you, it's like a 2 hour roller coaster ride. My girlfriend and I watched it last night, and she was clutching pillows and all kinds of stuff. It was absolutely very, very tense. And Clooney is very likable in this movie. Sandra Bullock is very likable, and she looks pretty good given her age. I don't know what she's eating, but she's not eating much of it, and it is very good for her. So I would say that Gravity, I'm going to give Gravity 2 shots of Kraken, not because it's bad, but because you're going to need that from a stress relief standpoint, because this movie is just going to beat the living daylights out of you. So
Nice.
So
I'll have to check that out.
I would highly recommend it. So Brushheads, get out there, do your thing, check it out. So you've got one that we'd say probably don't see, which is Transformers. We've got Gravity, which is one that you probably should get, and it's on a. I get my DVDs these days from GameFly because they just added that to their services, and then we've also got Days of Future Past, which I don't think is available yet outside the movie theaters. Is it not?
It's not. No. I just saw it in the movie theaters, and
Okay.
Gravity is actually coming to HBO soon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How excited are you for Guardians of the Galaxy?
Very. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm hoping it's well done. I
Man,
think that at the very least, the visuals will be amazing.
I am so ready to see Rocket Raccoon. I can't even begin to tell you.
It's going to be good.
Star-Lord. Who?
Who? Come
Oh,
on.
man. Star-Lord. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I showed Belinda the trailer for that the other night. I don't know where... She said she hadn't seen it before, but so she's like, yeah, we're going to see that on day one.
Yeah.
And I was like,
It's awesome.
it's like, yeah, there's a reason I'm in a relationship with you.
There you go.
So,
He's a keeper.
any other? Yeah, I no doubt about that. Are you kidding? She likes me. Jeez. So, any other movies you're excited that are still coming out yet this summer?
um, Honestly, I haven't seen any trailers that are coming up that actually piqued my interest. I can't think of any.
I'm telling you, I feel like the summer movie season is already on its way, kind of winding down.
Yeah.
I hate to talk more about War Machine and stuff like that, but is there anything that you've seen that interests you or that you've seen come out recently from Privateer Press?
Um, Gaston Koch.
Have
I
you
want to pick him up.
you have not picked him up? I will tell
I
you.
have not.
I will tell you right now, as a Protectorate player, running Gaston with a galleon in your Protectorate list is a trap.
Ooh.
Getting him dead is easier than it should be. Now he's a great model, and he's a great from a rule standpoint, he's fantastic. But putting him in there with a galleon can lead to some heartache, and I'm telling you, for realsies.
All right.
I'll tell you what,
Interesting.
I'm getting damn sick of painting. I can tell you that.
I still don't have these war jacks put together.
I'm gonna take here. I'm gonna do one last little thing to my bomber here, and then I'm gonna flip it over to the other cam so people can see how amazingly handsome I am. Let's see, where's my brush here? Here we go. I have a special brush that I use here, and I'll put it up for the brush heads. This is the same brush that I use for corroding and stuff like that. It's got once upon a time it was a Winsor Newton Series 7, size 3, that I really screwed up. I think I got glue on the bristles or something silly like that, which is an expensive F-up, by the way, just letting you know. And but boy, does it work cool now for using as a stipple brush for weathering. And I use it on my Earthbreaker, and I'll put up I think I put up some pictures. My Earthbreaker turned out better than I could have possibly ever imagined. And
awesome.
Yeah, I've never had the courage to go as far on that as I have on any other model. You know, with the OSL and the and then all the silliness around putting the typhus corrosion and the rise of rust on it, and it really turned out super slick. I'm really happy with the results. But
awesome.
Yeah, so there's so for the people who are watching along at home, hopefully they can see this. The lighting here is absolutely tragic as far as trying to show off something on here, but this is my Troll Bomber. I'm getting him ready for Tuesday because I'm running a very special list on Tuesday, Zosha.
Okay.
I am running Gunbjorn with 4 Winter Trolls, 2 Bombers, a Blitzer, 2 Thumpers, and Whelps. Because I hear guided fire on 4 8-inch sprays, but the potential of 1, 2, 3, 4 bombs and then a maximum of 3 shots with snipe in play is kind of a thing.
Yeah, that sounds miserable.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a
Not
good old time.
For me, but
yeah,
you're gonna have fun.
I'm gonna have a good old time with it. But this guy needs some washes now for the browns and stuff like that, and some on the metals to kind of dull him out, and then I've got to paint the flames on him. But he's getting pretty close to done. So
awesome.
I'm gonna flip it over here to the me cam. Here, let's go ahead and where'd my cursor go? There we go, and dissolve up to me. So anyway, so did you? We usually do bat reps and stuff like that. We've got a little bit more time in the show here. I'm not sure if do you have another 10 minutes to spend with us?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Did you play any games this week?
I did. I actually played 2 games this morning.
Okay. Tell us, how did you do this morning, and who were you playing?
I played against local Masters level player, Brendan Gauthier.
Okay.
He played Trolls against me. He's trying his hand at Trolls.
Okay.
And so game 1, I learned that P. Haley sucks against Trolls, and it was miserable. And then I made better decisions, and I played Striker 2.
There you go. So who was he playing in Trolls?
He played Grim 1. He just started, and we're both in this journeyman league at a local gaming store. And he has about 25 points of Trolls, so we played 2 25-point games. And he has Grim 1, Warders, Creelstone, Storm Troll, and an Axer.
Gotcha.
And yeah, so he that's what he's put together so far. So they're really more practice games for him to get a hold on the army. So, but no, he easily killed Haley 1. That's not hard to do. And then game 2, even under Grim 1's feet, my frogs were still able to kind of work through his warders and eat through them.
Cool.
So he was able to do that, reduce a lot of the threat. The Black 13th ate up the storm thrower, storm troll, whatever he's called. It was one turn they left him on like 4 boxes.
Yeah, the elemental trolls have pretty low armor. I mean, they're
Yeah.
16s, and the
Yeah.
I believe that they can do brutal shot, right? They're
Yeah.
just straight
Yeah.
up
They have
brutal.
brutal shot. Yeah, they have brutal shot. I mean, they have a 10-inch threat, so they're just like they just sit back and they're just like pew pew.
Yeah.
And I mean, you get 4 shots coming into you at 3d6 minus 6. I mean, granted they had some pretty good rolls in there, but
But
they could have killed him, but Ryan missed 1 shot.
yeah, and he doesn't have a creel
Um,
stone in there, right?
no, he does have a career stone, but
Oh,
the the dude guy was out of it. So
got it. I played a few games this last week. I played let's see, I played a game of with the Miserable Meat Mountain earlier this week, and it was I played the Gristle 2 version of it, the version that Chad Schonkweiler from Muson Minis has been sort of advertising. It is Gristle 2 with Mulg and an Axer, 2 units of Warders, a unit of Champions, a Fell Caller, full Creelstone with the UA, and sounds like enough, I think. And what ends up, it's, I played it against a, let's see, I played it up against a Scaverous list. And it was a bit of a special snowflake list. It didn't have any Banes in it. So Banes should do a pretty good job against the Warders, even underneath the Creelstone, even underneath her feet. But I was playing against a guy who was playing Blood Gorgers. And the Blood Gorgers didn't have any idea what to do with a Armor 23 Warder. I mean, Armor 23 with 8 wounds, and oh, by the way, they could still tough. So
yeah,
it's
that's
just,
almost as miserable as Citrati. But yeah, I hear it.
it's just bad. So did not enjoy that game. Neither of us enjoyed that game because it was just long and sloggy and terrible. But I played a list with my Earthbreaker. I played Osram, Earthbreaker, Silas, Thor, Hernan John, Nis Hunters, and I had Gaston running a rover in that list.
Okay.
And that list is a party. And I played against another Crix opponent. I played against Sturgis 2.
Okay.
And Sturgis 2 had the choice in this list of either occultating a unit of Bane Riders or occultating himself. And my opponent decided to occultate the Bane Riders, and I just shot his caster off the table.
Wow.
So
yep, that'll happen.
there's either you lose the he had a Kraken in the list as well, and so he had the choice. If he occultates the himself, I just take the Bane Riders off the table, and then line up my Earthbreaker to shoot the silly Kraken off the table. Or if he does the other way, I just shoot his caster. It was a very difficult matchup for him. So
Yeah.
but I love me that Ostrom list. I'll tell you what. Yeah. I've been long before everybody jumped on the Ostrom Earthbreaker bandwagon. It's like, no, you're gonna want him because he's got Snipe, and Snipe fixes everything that's not completely bananas optimal about that Earthbreaker. And sure enough,
Snipe is a pretty good mechanic or spell or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, and then now I'm playing Trolls where I have the option of putting out Snipe on a unit and follow it out by Impaler Animus on things. It's like, oh my god. I mean, I know I'm short range to start off with, but this is sort of awesome. So, well, I'll tell you what, my friend, I really appreciate you coming on the show and helping me to make this a success. You've been an amazing co-host.
Well, thank you very much for having me. This was great.
Yep, I look forward to having you on the show again. And we'll keep you in mind for possibly one of our future alternative audio tracks, shall we say, for some of the convention coverage. I know that Mr. Will Pagani will not be available for Gen Con, but perhaps we can get you to join us for the alternative audio broadcast for Gen Con. So, all right. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna bring this to a close. We're gonna bring up the music as soon as see if it works. There it is.
Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you.
Well, on behalf of Zosha, on behalf of the co-host with the host, Mr. John Spencer, who could not be with us here tonight, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here on Painting with Menoth John. It has been an absolute delight, and keep in mind, keep looking for Discount Games Incorporated for your internet's model fun and frivolity. And also keep in mind that if you're coming to one of the major events, you may have forgotten a shot glass at my house, and you owe me that money. So I will talk to you guys later, and have a wonderful, super awesome evening here and a great week. So talk to you later.